Laura Hemmon. Um, I kind of dug a little bit in the back office here, Laura. She started in November of 2013. She hit diamond last year. She lives in a very small town in Illinois. So all you people that don't think that you have, or think that you have to live in a big town to hit diamond, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but I think it's Teutopolis, Illinois. It's got 1,500 people. So
One
it's
stoplight.
possible. Did I say it right?
One stoplight and a dairy farm, just like Bertha.
There you go. So as you see, it is possible to hit diamond and live in a small town.
Yeah.
Laura is going to talk to us tonight about the fortune is in the follow-up. So with that, I'm going to turn.
All right, all me? Awesome. So yes, I do live in a small town, and all I can say is use it to your advantage, because there are advantages of living in a small town, right? Everybody knows what you are doing, and use it to your advantage. And that's kind of what I did. I said, hey, everybody needs these oils, right? Why don't you have them in your house? And I'm working on it. I'm still, so in March, I'm actually going into the junior high and going to work on the junior high kids. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think I can share my screen. I actually have a PowerPoint tonight, so bear with me one second. This is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about, because it's the thing I did wrong when I started doing doTERRA. There we go. There we go. The fortune is in the follow-up, and this is definitely where it's at. So when I started doing doTERRA, I also have an interior and architectural design business, and I was doing it full out too. And I was basically doing everything I could, you know, just to roll with my passion and excitement of the oils, and was enrolling people like crazy and didn't really have time to follow up. And that was awesome at the beginning, but then afterwards I found out, oops, I really need to, you know, touch base with these people and find out where I dropped some of the loops at. So we're going to go through and kind of talk about all the different areas of follow-up. And follow-up, you're going to notice, hits everything all the way along the way. So the fortune really is in the follow-up. And when you make your to-do list of things to do, make sure you put follow-up on there every single time, right? Because that's where your money is going to come from. So did you know 79% of the leads are never followed up on? Yes, guilty. At the beginning, I was definitely guilty of that. You know, so many times I'd give out samples or just talk to a mom at a ball game that I was sitting next to and never get back to them, you know? And what's the point of that when you give a sample but don't get back to them? All right, so why is follow-up so important? 2% of the sales are made in the first contact. So that, when I saw this little picture, I was kind of like, oh, yeah. So if you talk to somebody one time, you're going to have a 2% chance of enrolling them or getting them more interested. 3% are in the second contact, 5% are in the third contact, 10% are on the fourth contact, and here's where the money is. 80% are in the 5th to the 12th contact. So, you know, and it's not even, you know, calling them 12 times or 5 times or whatever it may be. Sometimes they might see a post on your Facebook page and be like, oh yeah, I do, yeah, I need to get back to her, you know. So it's just kind of little things that you see here and there and reminders of, you know, making a contact in some direction or another. It doesn't have to be hammering down on them. It definitely shouldn't be hammering down on them, but just really, you know, kind of staying in touch and staying in contact with them. So definitely that's the wow point. So it kind of made me go, okay, yes, I do need to, you know, make my list and follow up with these people. All right, so when we talk about follow-up, when it comes to a new lead or somebody that's not enrolled yet, somebody that's a potential wellness advocate, on average, we just talked about, it takes 7 interactions before somebody's ready. So, and I know when I think about when I went back to the beginning, when I was considering maybe getting a kit, I would say definitely it took 7 times for me to jump in on board. I was pretty hesitant, and you know, I remember Alicia contacting me, and I was like, no, not yet, no, not yet. And so, you know, if you think about when you enrolled, were you of the 2% or were you more on the 80%? And then people need to feel or have that direct interaction with the product. So at classes, you know, don't be hesitant to encourage them to use the oils at the class. You know, when I started doing classes, I kind of was like, here, everybody smell, right? But now I'm like, yeah, go ahead. If you think you need to, you know, use some deep blue, go for it. If you want to try the lavender, definitely, you know, put a couple drops on. And so, you know, they really need to have that true oil experience, and they're going to remember more of how they felt versus what you told them in the class. So of course, make them feel really good with oils. They will remember that. And definitely use your, use doTERRA's new sample packs. I love that they came out with these, so I don't have to make your own little samples all the time. I keep these on hand in my purse, backpack, in my car, wherever I'm going, because there's always somebody that, you know, has something going on, and I want to be able to share with them and be able to follow up with them. And then the key is I always have to write their name down on my contact list on my phone, on my to-do list on my phone, so I remember to get back to them. The other thing is to never sell, of course, and I think the majority of people are really good about this, because your heart stops you. You don't, you know, you're usually your heart's gonna kind of put up a block and stop you from going forward. And some of us have that a little bit too much, right? But if you have not read Starfish, I greatly encourage that one. It just basically teaches you to sell from the heart, or not sell from the heart, to create the friendship and create the friendship through the heart. And then it's never really a sell. It's always more of a relationship. So when you create that relationship, you know, it's easy to make the point of 7 interactions. You ask how their kiddo is doing. You ask how, you know, life is going, how their pet is doing. And it's easy to be able to do that when you create the friendship. So just really, truly care and listen to what they are telling you. To listen to what they are telling you, I always, you know, I have to remind myself, hey, quit talking and listen to what they are saying. Because a lot of times I want to tell them how excited I am about all the oils, and they're already excited. I just need to quit talking and let them talk. So good reminder for myself again. Okay, and then a follow-up at the class. So everything around the class, there's 3 different spots here. The first is, I use these prize drawings at my class, and I love them. I don't know if you guys use them, but they are kind of my contact to be able to stay in contact with everybody. And I'm always surprised. I can't wait to get home and open up my prize drawing sheets, because I'll hand them out towards the end of the class. And because if you hand them out at the beginning, they're going to have a totally different thought process than if you hand them out at the end. So I hand them out towards the end and just ask them to fill them out, and I give away something free that night, an oil or whatever. And when I bring them home, I go through these, and I'm always amazed at how many yeses and maybes are always on there. And because, you know, sometimes that's not a question I would flat out just ask everybody. And then in the middle of a room, a lot of times they're not going to tell me. So this is the perfect way to follow up with people. And remember, a maybe is a yes with a question mark. So maybe somebody's interested in hosting a class and they check maybe, but you have to follow up with them and ask them, well, you know, I would love for you to be able to host a class, but what, do you have a question, since I see you checked maybe? And maybe their question is, I want to have a class, but my house is too small, or, you know, it's under construction or something like that. So always a great reason to follow up with them. And even the no's, it's a great time to follow up with them, because maybe they're not interested in a kit yet, but maybe they want some samples. So reasons to follow up with everybody, right? So following up after a class, always follow up with the people that didn't enroll at the class, because a lot of times they leave and they have lots of questions. They're interested in the product, but maybe are still uncertain. You know, they kind of are on the fence. Those are great people to follow up with. So I always make a list of everybody that was at the class. Then I make a list of people that didn't make the class. So, you know, we have all these people, and sometimes we let some of them drop through the cracks a little bit. So, you know, like if I make a Facebook event and say 15 people are interested in coming and 6 only come, that's 7 people, or I'm not even doing my math right, however many people that, you know, didn't make the class, but they probably had a reason. Maybe a kid had a ball game, or, you know, busy day at work or whatever, but definitely contact them and say, you know, I'd love to meet with you on a one-on-one, or can we talk over online or via text or via the phone or something, you know, help it work for them. But if they were interested, that's a lot of people, a lot of times that kind of drop through, and that they're still interested in. And then for new wellness advocates, this is a big one. This is our kind of bread and butter here that we have to follow. We must follow up here. So we really have to create that bond, be the starfish here. And this is where anybody that enrolls, I like to make sure I know as much as I can about them, just because then I want to be able to help them and their family. So follow up for LRP, the top reason to follow up is to help your wellness advocate understand and know why LRP is the smartest way to buy oils. And, you know, just be honest with them. Tell them, you know, why you like being on LRP, why you, you know, it's an option. I always tell everybody, I love LRP because I get all of these points. Show them how you can start at 10% and work your way up to 30%, and how you can get your shipping points for free. And I also like to tell them that, you know, it is always an option and you can shut it off at any time. And I feel like that connects to their heart when they know they're in charge and not somebody else, you know, they're not stuck in the middle of a monthly auto ship program. So create your own membership overview. You can do Edge, Live Naturally, Share Success. There's all kinds of different ones. As long as you're contacting them and touching base with them, that's all that really matters. All right, so following up as a leader. As a leader, you have sharers, new builders, and other leaders. And really, my goal is to stay in contact with these people daily to weekly. Every builder or sharer, I'm usually talking to them. So if they are coming to me, it's really easy to stay in contact. If they're excited and, you know, I'm just going to make sure they have all the information that they need, that you know, they're getting their classes going, that their goals are getting met, and things like that. However, the ones that are kind of, you know, not super excited, maybe they're kind of, you know, in a rut or a little bit slower right now, those are the ones I do definitely want to stay in contact and find out, you know, what's going on. Maybe I need to give them a little encouragement, help them set goals. I love helping them set goals by letting them set their own goals, and then we'll get in contact when they tell me their goal, when they want to hit their goal. So for example, I'll talk to somebody and ask them, you know, well, what can you achieve in this month? You know, and let them set their own goals, and then say, okay, good. Then we'll talk again, in a week, 2 weeks, let them set that goal too. So sometimes people are like, yeah, I can probably do 1 class this month. And if that's all they can do, then that's their goal. If I can kind of encourage them to do a little more, of course we want to get closer to 1 to 2 classes a week. But sometimes we know we all have our own roller coasters. So, and then just remind them on the weekly checklist that doTERRA has. So this is the daily, weekly, monthly list that we all know. And, you know, these are I just go back to my builders and just keep them moving forward. So following up with builders is just as important as your users and your new contacts. All right, now creating a system. So this is where it gets a little iffy, okay? Because we are all so different, right? I know if I sit here and look at this list, I know what I'm going to do. So marker boards, Post-it notes, Google To-Do calendar, or something like that on the computer, reminder in your phone, planner, day calendar, to-do list, and back office that you've already had. You can just print your list off. So, you know, what works for you? Create your own system. I know a planner, I always think I'm going to do really awesome with a planner, and I get it, and I never even open the book. So that's just who I am. I do much better on a Google Calendar, a to-do list right in front of me. That's kind of how I roll. So, you know, whatever it is that works for you, make a system basically and write it down. So if I have just a plain piece of note paper, I'm going to write down everything I need to do. And then anything that I have to do, like classes and follow-ups and things like that, I'll put those in my Google Calendar and to-do list. All right, so why is follow-up so important to your downlines? All right, so did you know that following up directly affects the entire compensation plan on every part of it? If you have a person that's ordering retail, I'm definitely going to follow up with them and see how they're doing with their oils and try to educate them on why it's better to become a wellness advocate, right? So a follow-up is important there. Fast starts. We want to go ahead like we just were talking about with new classes and follow up with people that have not enrolled, but also with people that have enrolled with their membership overviews and just see how they're doing and touch base with them. So follow up there. Also, power of 3 is very important. Sometimes we get stuck with, you know, these people are ordering, they love their oils. And then we don't contact them and touch base with them and see how they're doing. You know, they may decide not to be somebody on your power of 3. So these people are really important people. They may be, if they're not builders yet, they could possibly want to be a builder. So always staying in contact with them too. And then unilevel is the biggest part, I think, as far as follow-up. Your unilevel will grow as you get bigger. And as you keep following up, it's going to stay consistent and keep growing. So for an example, these are 2 legs I pulled off of my team a while ago. And what is the difference between the 2 legs? So my goal is I like to go for an average of 65% average retention rate or higher, okay? As you can tell, leg one up here, looks like they have done a really great job of following up. They have a lot of LRPs going. The Power of 3 is set up really nicely. It's just, you know, I would love to have this leg on every single one. Leg two, they actually have way more people, but not very many on LRP. So what this tells me is I need to work on this leg, right? It's not quite at 65 to 75% average retention rate, so I want to work on that leg. So what I will do is I go into my back office, and this is the old one. I actually did this PowerPoint a while ago, and I kind of missed these arrows, but anyways, that's a mute subject. I'll go into my back office and print each leg out, okay? So I'll put a name on it, and I will date it, and I'll go through each of my legs. And then I create my own system. You can do this on Genealogy, whatever system works for you, but I'll go through and I will write their name down and their phone number, and I'll just start making texts or calls and go through and make a system. And you know, you can do whatever works for you. Highlighters, pencils, pens. I just kind of create a system as far as, you know, circles or red user, the triangle means ready to build. But they haven't got back to me. So just create your own system. I usually just end up making lots of notes and then going back to it every month and to see who I need to check up on. If somebody says, you know, hey, I'm not ready this month, but talk to me next month, I'm going to put that on my calendar or on my to-do list somewhere. Because if I let those people go, you know, a lot of times when they tell you next month, they're usually pretty serious about it. If they say, no, I'm not interested, then, you know, I ask them, can I contact you again? Maybe in the future, like 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, something like that. And usually they'll be pretty honest and tell you what they're thinking. So basically just create your own system. Whatever works for you. Genealogy printout, use your back office to its advantage because it's all right there for us. And then so I take these people that were on this list, okay? And then I'll write their names down. And if they tell me to contact them in another date, I'll put that date down and highlight it so I know to come back, say, in 1 month or 2 months or 6 months, whatever they're telling me. And I just kind of create a system as far as a to-do list. And whatever they're telling me, you know, maybe it's host a class, maybe it's help me out with LRP here, you know, whatever it is. All right, so as you can see, the follow-up really does directly affect the compensation plan on all levels. And it's just really super important to follow up with every single person. And really, I like to tell my team, you know, sometimes it's not about the amount of people and the amount of class, it's about the quality, right? So creating those friendships and helping them really know how to use their oils and why is the biggest one. And so when I put those on my calendar, I usually try to pick a date as far as a follow-up night. Maybe it's Tuesday night from 7 to 8. That's one that seems to be a popular one for me. And I'll just sit down every week and I'll do all my follow-ups in that amount or that period. So I'll put it on my calendar, follow-up night, 7 to 8, and sit down and go through my list. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. All right, and then the best way to contact. So of course we know in person is definitely the best way, and that's definitely the hardest way too, with everybody having busy lives. A phone call is really great if you're a phone call person. I have one girl on my team that does not like Facebook, doesn't like texting. She is a call-in girl and she probably has the best results. I have another girl that does an amazing job at text blitz, and she does them every month, and she actually enrolled the most amount of people in the last few months. So, you know, whatever works for you, go towards that. And I usually try to ask people, how do you like to be contacted? Because everybody is different there too. As you can tell, as far as we are, is how we like to contact people. So follow that and respect that also. And then Facebook Messenger and email, because, you know, actually, honestly, I'm a Facebook Messenger person. I'm like, message me on there, I'll get to you when I can. And then I'm at a computer and can type fast. And then also just remember to be the starfish, right? So truly educate the people, help them get their money's worth out of their purchase, respect their time and their needs, of course, you know, don't constantly be hounding them. And then don't push, of course. So follow-up is awesome, you know, as long as we have that respectful line and that we kind of just offer a support and let them always know that we're there for them without crossing that line too. So one thing that my team did over the last month is we sent this out to everybody and asked them how they wanted to be contacted and how often. And what it was, you know, I did it as a mass thing to our team. You could do it more personally, of course, to smaller teams, but we were trying to contact a pretty big team. And we put on, you know, how would you like to be contacted? And I was actually really blown away about how many 4s and 5s that we had. And so I was like, wow, okay, so some people really, really want more information. And then we did have some stops, of course, and some were 2s with email only. But it was kind of interesting to know, you know, everybody wants different information. Everybody's at a different level, and we need to respect that and give them the information that they wanted. So I was really excited about the people that wanted weekly texts. I was like, wow, good job, people. So they'll be the people that are ordering monthly and keep using their oils too. Oops. So with that, that's all I have on follow-up. Does anybody have any questions? Well, you guys are easy.
I have a question for you.
Sure. Hi, Joni.
So, so when you're doing follow-up, are you like, how do you, I mean, do you just communicate with your team to see like who's following up with who and who's not getting followed up with? Like the whole like taprooting thing, and make sure there's not like that overlap to whether being like reached out to by, you know, more than one person, or is it just your own personal people?
Yes.
Like, how do you manage that?
That's a great question. So what we do with my team is I have several legs that are really great at taking care of their team. So I just contacted the top leader and asked them, so like when I sent out this large text message, I said, do you want to be a part of it, or do you want to do it on your own? Do you want me to not contact your team? It's just about communication, really. And then I had one leg that completely died off, so I had to, it was kind of my way of, you know, getting a hold of everybody and keeping everybody that was kind of falling through the cracks going. But definitely communication with your leaders, see what they want to do. Before we did this, my account manager challenged me to contact every single person on my team. So we went ahead and did that. And, oops, I'm sorry, let me unshare the screen. It's doing something weird. But she challenged me to contact every single person on the team. And so we just made a plan. We got together and everybody, we said, everybody contact your own enrollments. If you know you have a builder on your team that is no longer doing the business, then if they're under you, you're in charge of contacting those people. And then we just kind of, you know, created a system together as a team.
Have you have you found new builders from doing that? Because we have people on our team that have great volume, personal volume, but also like OV, but you know, they're just, I don't even know if anyone's really talked to them about the business opportunities. So what's your experience with that?
That's actually what we're finding is some people were just like, wow, I didn't know, you know, this was an option. I didn't know I could share. I didn't know, you know, keeping 100 in my, so some people, that's kind of was the whole reason that we started the contacting everybody and just seeing, because you can kind of see the people that are excited about their oils and they really like them, but other people, you know, that they may not know. So that's kind of the reason we wanted to start the system and find out, you know, who is interested in more, who doesn't want any type of, you know, any type of text or emails. They just want to do Facebook. And so, yeah, that we were, and like I said, we were finding all kinds of 5s that were like texting me a lot, and then people, you know, were just, I think opening the door of communication is the biggest thing. Once you open that door, you never know what's going to happen. You could have, you know, a huge rock star builder on your hands.
I have a question.
Sure.
For you or for anybody else, has anyone used the program, or I don't know what it is exactly, Skipio, to follow up with people and get in contact with people in their downline?
Yeah, that's actually what we used for that text that I had there, Joanna. We decided as a team to invest in it because it is kind of pricey.
Yeah.
I have heard that Synduit's coming out with it soon, but we didn't know how soon, and we wanted to be able to get the awesome December promos out. So we went ahead and invested together on it as a team, and we actually have just kind of a team sign in and stuff. I know that's probably not truly legit, but since we're a smaller team, we decided just to do it together. And we just kind of sign in and take care of each other's team, or take care of our own people, and we sorted it out as into our own enrollments also. So.
Awesome.
If
Okay.
that makes sense. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you
Yeah.
had good, like you had success with it, obviously.
Well, I wanted to be really respectful of everybody, because if I just was thinking, how would I want to be treated if I was getting a text? I wouldn't want to be getting 15 texts, a month. So that's why I sent that video or that JPEG out with how often do you want to be contacted by us and who we were.
Mhm. Okay.
It's cool too because you can leave a voicemail. So we left a voicemail the same time the text went out, and I explained it further because you can only put like 2 lines on the text.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. Sorry if you said that. I was taking care of this one still, so I might have missed it.
She's up late.
I know it's 10:30 here on the East Coast. Lovely.
Awesome.
Teething.
Miss those days.
I have a question.
Hi, Barb.
Hey, has anyone used that Zytoscan? It's like a Zytoscan, but it's on your phone. And
Hi, Toby.
how do you use it, and do you have success with it?
I actually really like mine. I know some people don't like theirs. I do energy and muscle testing also, and I find it very accurate to the emotional side of the oils.
How do you get people to? How do you find people to take the test?
Usually they're hunting me down. So my team knows I have it, and anytime they see me, they usually are, so I have young kids and we're at ball games every single night. I usually have about 3 or 4 people that are hunting me down to scan them and their kids at a ball game, and it's okay. I don't mind it. I know other people don't love, doing that in public, but I think it's another way to stay in contact with people.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of intrigued with this idea. I heard that if you refer people, then your price goes down like per month. But if that person that you refer drops off, does that mean that your bill goes back up again?
I'm honestly not sure on that one.
I'm pretty sure it does, yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
I have a few downlines that are not builders and they love having it just in their house. So they use their oils more. So I, tell people if that's something you choose, I think it's a great thing to have. My sister actually is one of them, and they have quit going to the doctor since using it. So she was very excited about that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
One of the things about the iTobi is that you've got that follow-up information automatically. You can't lose it. It's there, and then you can follow up when you send them their scan and follow up after that and see if they want to get oils and stuff like that. But that was really good information, Laura.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions for everybody else. So those of you that have enrolled, so Mark and Rosalie, you said you've enrolled 4 people this month. So how did that work on your follow-up? According to the little chart that Laura had with the 2% and 3%, and how many contacts did it take, or did they all sign up the first contact?
One pretty much signed up as the first contact. Joni was here with us, and we had a class with this lady and her grandma and her mother, and they wanted to buy right then and there. They wanted to have this stuff immediately, and we could not provide that. And so we said, about the only way you're going to get it real soon is if you sign up. And they were happy to do so.
And we have
But then
with everybody else.
But then there's been follow-up with everybody else, and it's been really like a 1.5 follow-up. They just finally decided to sign up.
I think with one of the things we're learning is that with these new people that we've signed up is to really listen, as she said, listen, as you said, Lord, listen to what they're telling you. And some of them want contact and some of them don't. So if I contact them and say, hey, because I contacted one and said, hey, just following up to see, did you get your oils? How are you doing with them? Do you have any questions? She said, I'll get back to you. And I haven't heard from her. So I sent just another really quick text and said, hey, just want you to know I'm here if you have any questions. And now I'm going to wait because I just don't feel like I want to have to really read these people, kind of, sort of. So I'm trying to do that. Just really trying to be sensitive to them. Yeah. Because it took Romy she was so patient with us and amazing with us. So just learning how to do that. But your presentation was great. I loved it. I loved the help that we got from that and some really good suggestions on what to do. Good.
Awesome.
Laura, I have another question too, because I know, Mark, you're asking questions too, but don't let me forget it. Just
You go right ahead.
okay, thanks. So I did have to step away for a few minutes, so forgive me if you've already went through this, but would you be willing to give us just kind of like an example of what you would say to somebody who you're reaching out to for the first time, who's maybe you're connected with their upline's upline. Do you know what I'm saying? They're we're totally strangers, but you're taprooting, and what would you say? What would you say to somebody to introduce you?
You mean that's already enrolled on my team and just kind of opening the door?
Just introducing yourself and just letting them know that, hey, I'm trying to watch out for my team. How do you
I usually introduce myself, and some people are really receptive and some people are, no, so-and-so already helps me. I don't need any more information. And I just kind of leave it in their hands as far as who I am and how I can help them, and glad to, be here if they need anything else. And sometimes the circumstances have changed on my team where somebody has quit building. And so then I will definitely step in and introduce myself, tell them the circumstance of so-and-so is, no longer doing the business, but they're still using the oils. They just, life circumstances, whatever it may be. And then just say, I'm here for you if you ever need anything. And, the door's always open. I would love to, I try to take it further, just kind of reading them, how they are. I'd love to, sit down and kind of go through do a wellness consult if interested, and, go as far as they would let me go, basically.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One thing about the iTobi we talked about, I love using the iTobi at vendor events because you get all of their information, and they kind of usually get wowed away with, yeah, I do need that. And then they want to take a sample home.
That was actually my question. What do you do with following up with people from vendor events and they never ever answer? And so you have this stack of people who just don't answer.
I put them in the not ready yet list. We planted the seeds, and maybe not today, maybe not in a year, but maybe 5 years from now, they'll come back. And, as long as I invite them to
how often do you?
Usually I kind of plant the seeds once. I'll do a text out and just say invite. I feel like when you're too pushy, then people are totally, drawn away. But if you just are sincere and really open the door and they know where to find you, I give them my website or my Facebook information, then they know where to find me and they come back when they're ready. But, a lot of times I try to invite them onto my Facebook page so they still have a point of contact and they can see, the excitement going on in the page itself or the group wherever you want them at. And again, some people are there just for the freebies, and those aren't our people. Those aren't our targeted people. So we want the people that are coming to us, right?
I think that the point about trying to be friends on Facebook is something that for me has been pretty valuable. Even if you had a one-time conversation about oils, if you become friends with them, for me, it's just let's be friends on Facebook. We can follow and, share what's going on with our life and, your family and different things like that. And it is more along the lines of the friendship aspect. And we just had a conversation with a girl today that we did that with, and we ended up seeing her today. And she's following me on Facebook. I have to go to her page to on purpose see what's happening. But like she knows everything of what's going on. And I told her she would be amazing at the business. She's like just an incredible person, just in general. And I just told her, you know what, I just, whether you do doTERRA or not, I just think that you're awesome and I would love to have you in my life. And she's like, no, I'm really interested in this. So I think being able to just kind of give them a taste just by following your lifestyle and following you and giving them a chance to be friends with you is just, I don't know, it's just kind of a subconscious tool to use. So.
And the more friends, the better, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, and that's one of the big things when Romy first started building the business is she would tell people right off the bat, I don't care. And she wouldn't tell the people that, but she would, that was kind of her motto. I don't care if they do doTERRA with me or not. I end up with another friend no matter what. And we can never have too many friends, right? Everybody needs friends. So thank you.
I loved your presentation. You're so smooth to listen to. So I love every time you present.
Thank you. I have lots of work to do on speaking, but thank you.
No, it was
very good. Very good.
Very good.
Anybody have any more questions for Laura? Or us, or anybody? Open forum. Everybody's fair game.
Oh, maybe we should stop the recording.
Oh yeah, I better stop the recording. Let's have a giveaway. How about that, Kenzie? What are we giving away tonight?